A really big welcome to the Salon Chat Room podcast with Angeline Hayden, founder of Midas Customer Service Training and Salon Solutions, and Kerry Humphreys, founder of Locate Your Look. Please help us welcome our guests for today. We are sure you'll be suitably entertained and learn something new and inspiring about our amazing industry.
We are delighted to welcome Mitchel Allen to the Salon Chat Room podcast. Mitchel is a graduate stylist at Crew Salon, Portsmouth. Mitchel will be sharing with us the passion he has for the hairdressing industry and why you should never let having dyslexia stop you from doing the job you love. Welcome, Mitchel.
So, hi everybody, a big welcome today on our podcast, the Salon Chat Room podcast. And we have a great guest today. We've got Mitchel Allen from Crew in Portsmouth. So welcome, Mitchel. And I have to ask you, how are you today? We've had some really, really bad news, obviously, about the tiers and Portsmouth. So how are you feeling with it all?
Yeah, it's all right. It's the first day and I've already gone blonde again, so I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of the time.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just sad, isn't it? Because we've always tried to build ourselves back up from the first lockdown and we just keep getting knocked back down, but we'll all get there eventually, won't we?
Yeah, that's a good positive attitude. We do like that. So, Mitchel, one of the main reasons that we've got you on here is one, because you're just fabulous. We know that. But also, Kerry and I were talking about the side of dyslexia, this area of, it's a neuro, I say disorder. I hate to put disorder on it, but I'm married to a man who is severely dyslexic. So I kind of, he doesn't mind me saying that. Now, what inspired you to get into hairdressing? Was it to do with the dyslexia because you are more of a creative person? Or can you kind of give us a guide about that?
I'm going to be honest with you. When I looked at college courses and things like that, I was always looking for something more practical. Hairdressing wasn't always an option. I didn't really look at that as a whole. Okay. Until I tried it as an apprenticeship for a few days in a salon, and I just fell in love with it. And ever since then, I struggled a little bit with the paperwork while doing the courses and things, but it just fits so well with the way I go about things and the way I learn. It was just the perfect option for me. I did try a few courses before, but nothing really suited to me as well as this one did.
Amazing. So, did you know somebody that was a hairdresser? Did you have somebody to look up to and think, I want to be like that?
It was just more sort of the creative side of it, because I always liked art and stuff, but I could never put to reasons why I liked it and why I did stuff I did, because I always want an explanation as to why you've put a big circle next to a triangle and stuff like that. But with hairdressing, you don't need to. It's by request. You can sort of create all these different things for people, and you don't have to give them a reason why. You can sort of just get on with it, and I just make people happy with what they got.
Absolutely. A lot of dyslexic people have this immense creative side to them. And when you go into an industry that is so creative like hairdressing, you actually find that dyslexic people are so much better communicators as well with their clients, with other members of staff, with their boss. It goes across the board. Would you agree, Kerry?
I'd certainly agree with that. I know Mitchel because Crew's on Locate Your Look, and he inspires me as an apprentice, and what he achieves, his reviews that he gets. People not only talk about his creative side, but his personality. And I certainly believe that dyslexic people bring that sort of kind of out of them. So it's a great industry to be in. So you've been doing your apprenticeship for nearly 2 years, Mitchel.
Yeah, so I started my apprenticeship in a different salon before. And that's why I decided I liked the sort of hairdressing side of everything. So it's such an amazing industry to be in, especially for me. So I've got ADHD as well, so I struggle to pay attention to a lot of things. But with that, my brain's always occupied in doing something. So, and at Crew, I just don't think I want to work anywhere else now. I love working there. It's really lovely, and the people are really lovely. I love working with clients and things like that. I'm quite happy with what I've achieved over the time I have been there.
Yeah, do you think that makes such a... Sorry, Angeline. Do you think being with Crew makes the team they've got, because they are an amazing team, Ashley being your boss is an amazing creator as well. Do you feel that that's one of the reasons why you stayed in the industry and you're doing so well in the industry?
Yeah, I think at times, obviously, and I think a lot of people that do apprenticeships realise that it's not all just fun and games. There's a lot of learning to do, and you have got to take it very seriously, otherwise it just won't happen. A lot of people think you come into hairdressing, do a haircut, and then that's it. You've learned everything now. So I think having a good team around you and working in a salon where you enjoy yourself is a big part of it. And having the right sort of bosses around you, people that aren't just money orientated and actually care about you on a personal level, is definitely a thing that encouraged me to stay in it. Yeah.
So it's finding the right team, isn't it, Mitchell?
Yeah, definitely.
The team that's actually going to support you as an apprentice, because like we were saying before, Kerry, I don't know if you knew, Mitchell, but over the years, there has been a 13% downturn in apprentices in the industry. And it's such a shame. This is an area where young people, young professionals can develop their creative skills in a massive way. And then at the end of their apprenticeship, they can go off and they can do photography, they could do hair up, they could specialize in color, they could do everything. What would you say to somebody who is out there thinking, do you know, I really want to get into hairdressing. I am dyslexic. Do you think it's going to be a problem? Because this is all about perhaps, you telling them that it's okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should stop anything they want to do because they've got dyslexia. I think that you should try everything. But hairdressing, personally, I think is a good industry to be in because it doesn't require a lot of reading and writing. And you can do a lot of things that you couldn't usually do. With me, I really struggle to stay calm. Not calm, I struggle not to be hyper and chatty, but in this job I don't have to. Whereas if I was working in an office and things, I'd probably have to just sit there and be bored, and I'm not very good at writing anyway. It's like when you have to write like the date and time for appointments on notes and stuff, I'm like, excuse the writing. But that's it really. That's the only downside to that is I have to write dates sometimes.
Of course. But you've got your team around you to support you as well. And it's all about communication, hairdressing, isn't it? Communicating with your clients, building trust. And they're not worried whether or not you can write an essay about whatever. What they're concerned about is, do you genuinely come across as a trusting person?
Yeah. Okay. And as long as the client feels that trust, the appointment's just going to fly through anyway, because a conversation just flows. You can have a bit of a laugh with them. You always know which sort of clients you can say certain things to, which is something you also learn. But with me, at first I had to learn that because I'd open up to anyone, I'd tell anyone anything, and I had to sort of learn that with hairdressing, that you can't speak to everyone in the manner you would at home. But it's definitely the perfect industry for me.
So I've come across lots of salons with working Locate Your Look. It's sort of and I've stopped taking apprentices on, which is a real shame, but they feel that that's college's fault. They feel that the apprentices that are at college don't get enough practical and salon sort of work. So with you doing half at college and half with Crew, what's your sort of view on the college side of it? Do you feel that you would encourage people still to go to college? Do you feel that a full-time apprenticeship in a salon you learn more, or what do you feel?
So the way I did mine is I went to college 1 day a week and I worked in the salon the other 4, so 5 days in total I was training for. And I I can't think the blame could solely be on salons for apprentices not learning, because I took on a personal role with mine, and I made sure I was putting online, like, is anyone able to come in for, like, just for me to cut their hair and train on that? Because at Crew I had a lot of support. I had, like, Jess, she was the one that helped me train, and then Ash has done that. They've all chipped in with me to help me learn, and I couldn't fault my college lecturer at all. She was amazing. I do think that some of the colleges do push the hairdressing course to the side, because I remember when I went for my interview, they said, "Oh, you've got all these GCSEs, you're not going to go for something else." And I thought that comment was quite offensive, because a lot of people get pushed away from it. I know some of my friends have before as well. A lot of people think it's for stupid people, but the amount of brains and the amount of science that's actually behind it is just overwhelming sometimes. It's like the colour codes and everything like that. You've got to remember, like, what counteracts other things and the angles and everything.
Well, it's mathematics and physics, isn't it? When you think about it, mathematics and physics, and there's not another industry that you have to, and you've got to have your communication, and you've got to, your timekeeping, your customer service skills, and everything. It's a massive call. It really is, and it isn't for everybody. But Kerry and I really hope that there are people out there that view hairdressing as an incredible career. And looking forward, Mitchel, is there an area that you'd like to major in, or how can you see your future?
I'm just going to go back to what you said a minute ago quickly, because I forgot to say, I also don't think that the salons have a personal role to train staff as well as colleges, because that's the main way I learn. I think after a few months I was doing clients on myself with someone just observing. And I think that was a massive part, because obviously the main thing I did at college was go there to get things passed off. Yeah. And I learned a lot of things from the salon. So I think that was the better way for me to learn anyway. But my lecturer was just so supportive the whole way through. And if I needed help with paperwork or anything, she was always there to help me in things. So I couldn't really fault that side of it. And I couldn't fault my training at Crew either. The salon was amazing. And going back to what I would like to do in the long run, I just love doing everything. The only thing that obviously feels a bit longer is blow drying, but we've all got to do it after our appointments.
Yeah, definitely have to finish it off.
Yeah, get the curls in there.
Sorry, Kerry, you go.
Go ahead. I was just going to say that a lot of people have gone into sort of the men's side of it as well. So that's really sort of come up really sort of kind of huge over the last couple of years. Barberings are coming up all over the place. Is men's sort of hair a thing that you'd like to do more of, or do you like the versatile of doing both?
Yeah, so I do like, I've done some men's hair. I've not done like the official training through colleges and things, but I've been shown a lot of things from obviously Ash, my manager, who's absolutely amazing at gents hair, and everyone at Crew. I watched them and I think, like, how have they done that the whole time training? I'm sure you remember, Kerry, when you used to watch people do college, how do they know? Yeah, and I've watched them, and I think you do learn a lot by watching. And I've gone home, I cut my boyfriend's hair, my brother's, and I've given my dad to go. And I'm at the stage now where I would feel confident to do it in a salon, but obviously my manager, Ash, he said we'd put you on a course and we'd do sort of things like that. But yeah, it does interest me a lot, because it's very creative and you've got to pay attention the whole time. So if you go a little bit too high with the clippers, then you've ruined the whole haircut. So
it's extremely precise, isn't it, Mitch?
Yes, yeah.
There's no room for error, really, on very, very short hair, especially you were saying about the clippers. I mean, I look at some YouTube videos and that on barbering, and I think, whoa, how do they do that? It is so precise and so symmetrical as well, especially when they're doing design and fades and things like that. Is it an area, is it level 3 that you're more, the training is more available?
I'm not too sure personally, because I've only been doing the 2.5 level at college. I don't really understand why it is a 2.5. I thought it was just 2 and 3. But I looked into the level 3.5 side of it. It was more just hair extensions and colour correction. But I sort of learnt that aside of doing the 2.5 anyway, with all the training courses and stuff that we've done at Crew. So the level 3 I don't think includes barbering. And I think something else it doesn't include is Afro-Caribbean hair, which I think that a lot of the education people should start looking at, because we get so many clients come in, and no one's confident enough to do it because it's such delicate hair, and it's an area that I think a lot of people should be open to learn, because it looks amazing, it looks fun, the hair is just beautiful, but you don't want to touch it because it's so delicate and you don't know what to do with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Inclusion and diversity as teachers, we know how important that is. And that sort of overspills into the industry as well. We've got to be inclusive, and we've got to work in diverse situations. So we totally agree with you, Mitchel. It should be. And I think looking forward, I think it's an area of hairdressing that people are embracing. I really do think that.
Mitchel, with you doing your apprenticeship with Crew, they are so good at the whole kind of training and keep on top of it and stuff like that. But with a lot of salons, they're not doing it. So I'm a firm believer that everybody should keep on top of the training. There should be something. We're such a versatile industry that changes, evolves all the time. I do think that training is really, really important. It's like yourself, your hair's amazing, and men are just really into the way they look now and the way different styles that's coming in. So how important do you feel that for an apprentice coming into the industry now, how important is it for them to choose the right salon for them?
I really think you have got to look in, like when you're looking for an apprenticeship, you've got to look at salons, and if you can find any kind of employment history, look at it, because some of the salons do just get apprentices to mop the floors and do the towels and stuff like that. There's not a lot of training that goes into it. And if you're in an apprenticeship like that, don't stay there. That's not what you're there to do. It's not fair. You don't get paid £3 an hour to be a cleaner. Obviously, you have to do that alongside training, but I wouldn't say to anyone, if you're just cleaning, just stay there. Don't stay there at all. Go find someone. There's always people cry out for good hairdressers. If you want to do it, then it's down to you, actually. You can't blame anyone else for you not trying to put yourself out there. If you're happy to stay somewhere and not learn, then that's down to you.
Yeah, because it's an industry that technology is definitely not going to take over, is it? It's a hands-off sort of kind of, you're constantly learning, evolving. So yeah, I totally agree. If there is apprentices out there and they are looking to start in the industry, they do need to sort of kind of focus on the right ones that will give you what Crew's giving you. I just think that's pretty to sort of move forward with your career from the very start, from the minute you walked in. As you say, part of your journey is to keep watching and learning and asking questions, and so I think it's really important that finding somebody that is focused on getting you through your journey in the industry is amazing.
I've met a lot of apprentices while doing this, obviously through college and everything. A lot of people have got the attitude that you need to be told what to learn and shown when to learn. But I think if you want to learn something, approach your bosses, approach people, approach your friends that are learning with you and ask them how they're doing that and why they're doing that. The only way you learn is by asking and watching is the main way.
So looking at that side of it, because we think that it is up to the apprentice as well to be enthusiastic about learning, because otherwise the salon is not, they don't know that you're interested. So what do you think makes a good apprentice, Mitchel? That'd be a really interesting to hear from your side of it.
I just think you've got to be willing to learn. You can't go into a place expecting them to. No one's going to push you unless you're willing to be pushed. And I think in this industry you have to be, because there's so much competition. You need to learn as much as you can to be able to, just be better than someone. If you don't want to be the same as someone, you want to be better than them in an industry like this, because there's so much competition. With all the different salons and all the different areas, obviously you want everyone to do well, but you want to be the best, don't you? So you never want to stop learning. You can't ever think that you've got to the place where you don't need to learn anymore, because that's when you start going downhill. And you see that a lot with. I've met a lot of people that through working in different salons and training places, and they don't think they need to learn anymore because they passed the exams on the computer. It doesn't mean you can do a good haircut or a nice colour.
It is an
people going to leave.
Yeah, it is an industry that you are constantly learning, aren't you? And we were talking about this as well. Midas Customer Service Training, which is my company, we teach exceptional customer service in the salon, particularly for 16 to 25-year-olds. Now, we've just working on Audible books as well, so that we can, inclusion and diversity, we can actually say to students, learners, or apprentices, if you're going to struggle with, sometimes with extra learning, extra curriculum learning, they've got to be comfortable in how they learn. So with the Audible books, we're hoping that we can include everybody, and it doesn't just have to be the ones who love to read reams and reams of paperwork. So Mitchel, do you think that would help the apprentice who maybe struggles with reading and the concentration? Yeah,
definitely. Because personally, if I read something too long, I get bored. I just won't bother. Yeah. On a brutal level, I just won't even bother doing it. Because if I get bored of something, it's not going to be a priority of mine, and I just end up forgetting about it. So I think what you've done with your course is a brilliant idea, because you can just sit in bed and listen to what it's saying, or also read at the same time, and read and listen at the same time. So also that helps people process in their brain and helps you remember. But yeah, I do think that's a brilliant idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of these that customer service is a huge part of the industry. Like we turned around and said, that industry is packed now with competition. But the thing that brings customers back and back and back is your customer service. And like I've said previously, that the reviews that you guys get from Crew, it's all about from the minute they walk in to the minute they go out. So even if the reviews about yourself, Mitchel, it's also talks about the whole experience and the team and how welcoming they are. So with Angeline's courses, there is 16-year-olds that customer service isn't top of the list. They just want to get stuck in and learn. So I think it's an amazing approach, amazing concept for this industry. It means that they learn more, they can focus a bit more on learning other things because they've already accomplished the customer service. So yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a great concept, and it should be given more to the rest of the industry.
Thank you for that.
I also think I think as well, it's about getting the balance between professionalism and personal, like being personal with a client. Because you can't always, some people can't find a balance. Either they're like a robot and the customer service it's that the customer service is amazing, but you're not relating to the client. You're not talking to them like a person. You're talking to them like a customer. And some people just don't like that. People don't want what holidays you're going on questions. They want to be asked. They want to know about you. They want to know about lots of different things. Like, a lot of people are nosy. I know I'm nosy, and I want to know about people's lives, and I want to know what's going on. Hence one of the reasons why I love this job.
30 odd years, I was thinking that. I still want to know.
Well, it's human nature to want to talk about yourself. That's human nature. And we also teach as well about using the client's name, because it's just like a little bell that goes off in their head. And it's just a little bit more personal, only if they mind. I mean, you have to check with them to see if they mind using even their first name. We used to have a lady in the salon who used to go, "No, call me Mrs. Phillips, please. Do not call me Sheila." So, you just have to do it, don't you? But it's best to check first.
But that's what all part of the industry, isn't it? It's like knowing your customer, each individual customer, what you can say, what you can't say, how to approach them, how not to approach them. There's plenty of people come in the salon that don't want to talk at all. But as long as you know that, and a good professional stylist will know exactly how to approach that person. So it's all part and parcel of learning. It's not just all about curating, it's about learning other aspects in the industry as well.
Absolutely. One area that we teach is etiquette at the backwash, because very often when I was in the salon, I could hear the young apprentices talking about their boyfriends and their weekends, and I'm thinking they really don't want to know, So, they just want to know, or even, it's such an area of vulnerability as well. They just maybe talk about the products and educate your client about what you're using. But, and if they do ask you about yourself, we teach them to turn the conversation back to the client, because answer it briefly, turn it back to the client, because actually they only want to talk about themselves. So, which is fair enough, really, isn't it?
People ask questions to then be asked themselves, don't they? That's like, How are you? Oh, I'm not good. I'm bad. Oh, brilliant. It's one of them appointments.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, what you won't be asking is, are you going on holiday this year?
No. Well.
That's a definite no, isn't it? That's one of the questions that you won't.
Hopefully next year we'll be talking something different than COVID. So change of subject.
Absolutely. So, Mitchel, looking at all of the apprentices out there, or even, sort of people at school, young people at school, what advice would you give to them about the industry? If they're thinking, if they're maybe on the verge of going, shall I, shan't I? What would you say to them?
I think if you want to do something, just give it a try. Like I tried 4 courses before I found this one, and I think there's definitely something to do for everyone. There has to be, because you've got the rest of your life to work, so you've got to find something where you're happy. Obviously, no one's going to be happy every single day going to work, and you get the clients where you just think, oh, okay, we know you're sad, but we need to we get on with the day now. But I think, if you want to try hairdressing, just do it. There's no reason not to. If you've got the motivation to be able to learn and you want to learn, then there's no reason for you not to excel in the subject. It's easy to learn, but you've got to have the personality to back it up.
Do you actually feel like you're at work, Mitchel? Because they say if you love your job, you don't actually ever do a day's work, do you?
No, definitely not. I think I'm so hyper a lot of the time, and I think in the environment I work in, the salon I work in, it fits in so well, because a lot of the clients, if I'm not there, they notice. And even like visitors that come in just to drop parcels off and stuff, they all know my face, they know who I am.
You've made a big impression.
Yeah. I'm quite a big personality, as I'm always told, and my laugh echoes through the salon, so people always know when I'm there. But I think everyone should give it a go. If you're feeling that you want to, but there's something stopping you, then talk to someone about it.
Yeah, I've been in the industry, owned 2 salons for over 30 years, and do you know what? Some days it's really tough. It's really, you're on your feet 10 hours a day, one after the other, different personalities coming in and out, but you still have to keep that smile and that customer service going for 10 hours, and you're just feeling, I just want to go home. So you just generally love it. You just generally have to love it to have that passion for it. But I loved every single, well, I won't say every single minute, but I certainly stayed there for 30 years. So I must have loved something about it. So it's definitely a great industry to get in. Every day's different. Everybody you speak to is different. You learn so much, create so much. And the biggest thing for me is you put a smile on people's face. You've not got to just want a job. You've got to want to want to be there, haven't you? You can't think of it as a job. You can't think, 9 till 5. It's not going to be that. You have to put in the hours. You have to put in the time. Yeah, and you have to put that smile on people's face. Yes. How they walk in, they have to walk out with a smile on their face. So it's great. It's a great industry to be in, and this industry is great to have people like you in this industry, Mitchel. That passion that you've shown, that enthusiasm. I can see you in 30 years' time on a podcast saying that I've spent 30 years in the industry and I've achieved this and I've achieved that. So yeah, it's great. I think I'm very happy with. Oh, sorry. No, please go ahead. I think a lot of, like I've said before, a lot of people I've met haven't had the willpower to learn and the want to put in the time and the effort to speak to people online to get them in for the free haircut. Because you've got to, when you're training, you've got to get people's trust and you've got to show that
you've got to make up, you sort of know what you're doing. Even if you don't, you've got to make the client feel comfortable, because there's always someone there watching you when you're training. But if the client doesn't feel comfortable, they're not going to have a good appointment. They're not going to come back to you. And I think that it's all about gaining people's trust and wanting them to like you. You need the client to like you, because they're not going to come back. You can give an amazing haircut, but if they're bored of you and they don't like your personality, then they're not going to come back, are they?
Exactly. We know actually from the industry that it's not just about the haircut. It's not just about the color. It's not just about the coffee that they make, even though you can't have one anymore. People, and even with prices, people are willing to pay more for a better experience, and they are. And with all their high street, salons on the high street doing fantastic colors and amazing cuts, the one difference that somebody will look at is the level of customer service. So you're so right in saying, Mitchel, that it's about building trust, because if the client doesn't trust you, one, they're not going to buy from you. And secondly, they're not going to refer friends and family to you. And they're certainly not going to come back. So trust is a massive thing in the salon.
We've spoke to a lot of salon owners, top stylists, and they say they got where they've got today for their personality. They said they're not any better than anybody else. They're not creating any better things. As long as you do your training and you know what you're doing, you can do. They can get the service anywhere, but it is the customer service, the experience that people are receiving at your salon that gets people to come back and back. So you're right.
And being enthusiastic, like obviously you are, Mitchel. You're a big personality. You're very enthusiastic, and enthusiasm is infectious in the salon. I tell you, if you go in there and you're not having a great day and you are less enthusiastic than you were yesterday, I'll bet everybody knows about it, because enthusiasm is infectious, and clients love an enthusiastic person. Who doesn't? They're usually really happy, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the thing is, if clients come in and are having a bad day, you've also got to be a part-time therapist, because that's what people want. They want to walk out feeling relieved, not just the weight off their hair, but the weight off their emotion, the things they're thinking. You don't always want to have to listen, but sometimes you just have to, because otherwise it just doesn't work, does it? And people don't want to. People want to come in for a rant, because sometimes you're the only people people see. That they might not see people for weeks, and then like some of our older clients, that especially at the moment, they're just not coming out just to see people. They're coming out because they need their haircut or their colour, which is good for us, and it's nice to see them, to be honest. They
probably don't even need their hair done. They're just coming to you to have it done anyway, because they like you. Yeah. And, and it's contact for them as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think for the older clients that we do have, that it's just, that makes their day, it makes their week, and they always phone after and say it was lovely seeing you. And sometimes you haven't got time to have a conversation with them on the phone, but if you haven't, then call them back, because you don't ever want to break the relationships with the clients you have got. They won't always be there.
You are going to go such a long way, Mitchel. I can tell just by listening to your passion, not only for the industry, but also for the clients, because everybody out there who's listening is either going to be a hairdresser, an apprentice, or a client. So, they're going to want to come to you at Crew in Portsmouth when you're open, of course. So, Mitchel, looking at the apprenticeship program, would you say that, and we talked about this in our previous podcast, would you say that customer service in the salon should be taught in a bigger way through your tutors and college, or how else do you learn?
I can't personally remember a time where in college it was a big subject to learn on. It was something you did a test on a computer, whether what answers you would give to what questions, and that was sort of it. You got that certificate, you're done, off you go. You're a level 2 hairdresser, you can go work in a salon now. And I think a lot of the places, like, people don't realise that anyone that I speak to that wants to do like a level 2 college course in hair, I always say, well, have you looked at an apprenticeship? Because you learn so much more, and you learn so much quicker. You learn customer service. You learn how to be personal with a client, but on a respectable level. Yeah. And I think, it should be a bit of a a bigger subject for colleges and people that are in education to teach, because a lot of people don't have that skill.
Yeah, we were talking also about certain skills for young people. And one of the skills that you actually learn with experience of life is empathy. But my husband, who is really dyslexic, he has this incredible skill. He is able to read people. I'm not. I just think everyone's great. He's able to read people really well. He's able to empathize with people. And he says to me, it's because the different sides of the brain work differently with dyslexic people. And this is one of the sides of his brain that actually is really prominent. So would you agree that you particularly are more empathetic with people? You understand people better. You're a better communicator. And you can also read people quite well?
I think in the type of job that we're in, you can't help but be a good people reader. You know when someone walks in from their face, whether you're going to enjoy the appointment, or you're going to, or it's going to, the 45 minutes is going to drag. And obviously, that's still part of your job. But sometimes you do just really, really enjoy certain clients when you're doing them, and
you can
every
turn
appointment,
that around, can't you? So you can turn that around. So some people come into the salon feeling a little bit deflated and upset. But as soon as they sit on that salon chair, sometimes you can really sort of turn that sort of.
Yeah, definitely, because some people you just assume that because they've come in the bad mood and that's going to be the whole appointment, but it's not. It's your job to turn that around. It's your job to make them enjoy that appointment. And if they don't want to talk to you, then that's up to them. And that's the way they will enjoy the appointment, because some people just don't want to talk, and that's fine. It saves you having to make conversation with someone that doesn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, and picking up on that, because as a client, I always like to go into the salon and I like quiet time. You know, read your book or your iPad or something, or do some work. And actually, the stylist used to pick up on that, and that is a really key point, because not everybody wants to engage in conversation. Some people just want to go there, get their hair done, and enjoy the experience. But for the people who go in there, who are perhaps maybe a little less happy than they are normally, I'm sure in the salon Crew in Portsmouth, they will go out really happy by the end of the appointment. We know that.
I think also a lot of hairdressers have got to understand that your client doesn't want to know every ingredient inside your shampoo. If you start talking about your products and they're getting bored of it, then there's just no point carrying on. Talk about something that engages them, rather than being like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's cool, lovely. I definitely might buy that.
Oh, well, we're going to wrap this up now, Mitchell. It has been an incredible experience talking to you. Honestly, we know you're going to go a long way at Crew in Portsmouth. And we just want to thank you on behalf of Kerry and myself. Thank you so much for coming onto the podcast and talking about you, apprenticeships, customer service, and everything else there is to go with a salon. So thank you so much.
Yes,
that's all right. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
And you. And I hope to see you both when we're all allowed out again.
Sound like naughty children, but we're not really. Yeah. Take good care and have a wonderful Christmas, Mitchell.
Thanks,
and you. Thank you very much.
A big thank you to our guests today for giving up their time to share their own salon industry journeys. Don't forget to sign up to our channels so you don't miss out on the amazing guests we have lined up just for you. Big love from Kerry Humphreys, founder of Locate Your Look, and Angeline Hayden, founder of Midas Customer Service Training and Salon Solutions. See you next time on the Salon Chat Room podcast.